the Panasonic GH6 is on its way, and we are actually going to be seeing this camera before the end of 2021. Question of the day: have you ever been in love with a person so much that you just can't look at the person, or you just can't watch the person fail, and you are just thinking good for the person, and you just wish the person makes it so much in life? That is my relationship with Panasonic. Now, for so many years now, I have been a user of the Panasonic ecosystem, and that is why I'm making this video today. Now, right off the bat, this video is not geared towards detailing all the specs of the upcoming GH6 camera. Rather, this video is actually geared towards letting you know my thoughts of this camera and whether it will succeed in the pool of all these new gigantic Sony and Canon cameras. I just want Panasonic to succeed. There are already tons of tutorials online right now talking about all the technicalities or all the detailed spec sheets of what this camera would present. Of course, no one actually knows all. Panasonic has just given us just a gist of what to expect in that camera. So I'll have links to other videos if you really want to go into the technicalities of this camera. I have links to other videos in the description below. You can actually click there to watch it. But this video is to simplify the concept and just to talk about generally where I think the Panasonic cameras are going and where I wish this camera would take the whole Panasonic, or where it will elevate the Panasonic system to. If this is something that you are into, this is an African YouTuber's views on cameras. Stick around, let's figure this out. Hello and welcome to this channel. On this channel, we take the big Hollywood ideas and we transpose them into smaller ideas so that you, the indie filmmaker in any part of the world, can implement in your work. Specifically, when it comes to tutorials of this nature, I talk about camera systems in relation to the African setting and what I think as an African independent filmmaker. If this is something that you are into, sit back, relax. Let's talk about the new GH6. Now, to put everything I'm going to be saying into perspective, this camera, which is currently filming me right now, is the Panasonic G7. This tells you exactly my relationship with this company. I've actually been using Panasonic cameras for a very long time now. Now, don't get it twisted. That doesn't mean Panasonic is perfect or their cameras are perfect. There are actually some quirks with these cameras. However, when it comes to value for money, unless recently that the Blackmagic have introduced their pocket systems, for a long time they were the undisputed kings of low budget, high quality cameras. Trust me, as at the time I got the Panasonic G7, nothing can actually be matched, or nothing is actually closer to this camera in terms of what this camera has to offer. Zebras, focus peaking, I mean, a lot is actually in stock with this camera for the amount at which you buy this particular camera. Talking about the G9 and later on to the GH5 and the GH5S and now the GH6 and also the upcoming GH5 Mark II. Now, for all these cameras that I've mentioned, with subtraction of the new ones, which is the Panasonic GH6 and the Panasonic GH5 Mark II, are fairly really high quality cameras at a very low price range. Now, if you compare this to Canon or compare this to Sony, the kind of features that are stock in these Panasonic cameras are just amazing. And as at the time Panasonic released the Panasonic GH5, trust me, in the market, there was actually nothing to rival a camera at that price and what the camera could do. Now, fast forward several years down the line, we are here today and we are being told that the Panasonic GH6 is on its way. And we are actually going to be seeing this camera before the end of 2021. So it got me thinking, the new features that we know already, are they enough to actually entice new users? And those who are already in the Panasonic ecosystem, someone like me, are these new features enough to woo us or to push us to that limit where we may want or we would want to upgrade to the GH6 or let's say the GH5 Mark II? Well, like I said in the beginning, it's my wish that Panasonic would succeed. Now, one of the major areas where Panasonic really extremely suck at is their auto-focusing system. Panasonic cameras are really bad. Now, I know as a filmmaker, advanced filmmakers will be shocked that I'm bringing up the issue of autofocusing system, because professionally for us on film sets, we don't actually use autofocusing system. But trust me, autofocus is beginning. I wouldn't still use autofocus on my film set, but autofocus is beginning to catch up, especially if you're someone who also does YouTube. Now, as a filmmaker, I now also record YouTube videos, and so I'm beginning to miss that feature if it's not in a camera. And I feel like most of the industry, I'm not saying every independent filmmaker is going to become a YouTuber, but at least having that particular feature can really be liberating. Now, I've shot tons and tons of documentary films on my Panasonic GH5 and also my Panasonic G7, which I'm currently recording myself on. Now, aside the amazing image quality and of course the unrivaled stabilization, of course, stabilization systems usually come with a price. There's usually a price to pay for that. Either sometimes there's some jello effects at the edges, or generally there's always something just a little bit off when you see digitally stabilized image as opposed to just mechanically stabilizing your image with a gimbal or let's say a glide cam. So the question here is, what if, just what if Panasonic is able to master the final monster that is crippling their growth at the moment? Autofocusing system. What if they finally master the art of autofocus? Well, then guys, only then I think Panasonic will really hit the market running again. And trust me, with their competitive price, I'm sure the Panasonic ecosystem would definitely win back a lot of new and young and upcoming filmmakers and even content creators or YouTubers. Because trust me, the GH5 Mark II actually has some amazing streaming features inbuilt, which I'm sure a lot of YouTubers would actually like. And trust me, that particular new streaming feature in the Panasonic camera is going to be one of its kind, because as at the time of making this video, actually as at the time of 2021, there is no simpler way to live stream than what we are going to be getting on the Panasonic GH5 Mark II. All it takes to be able to stream live footage right from your camera to YouTube or to the internet is just an internet connection or a Wi-Fi connection which can connect to your camera. That is as simple as it gets. If you've tried doing live streaming before, you would know how difficult sometimes you need capture card and you need all those other extra accessories and other softwares, which can sometimes become very clunky. But this new system promises to simplify the whole concept of live streaming, which I think is going to be very revolutionary. Will all this be enough to woo new users into the whole Panasonic ecosystem? Without autofocus? Well, I guess time will tell. But with a level of Panasonic right here, it's all my wish that Panasonic would succeed with this new upcoming cameras. Of course, as at when we have the full details on the spec sheets and everything we need to know about this camera, I'm going to make another separate video as at when Panasonic decides to release or give us the full information on what exactly this camera is going to contain or all the extra features that this camera is going to come with. But like always, as a lover boy, I love Panasonic and I pray this new camera does well for the company. This is an African YouTuber's thoughts on the new upcoming camera. If you're new here, we talk about photography, cinematography, time we drop awesome content like this on this Africa Amaze channel. Until next time, as always guys, like we do it on this channel, keep practicing filmmaking. Peace out.